Ethan had never believed the strange array of items that people bought at Old Ma's Curiosities shop. The peculiar store on the corner of a deserted alley was a mystical store that sold items of magic, but Ethan had never taken any such thing seriously. He disregarded all of it as mere nonsense, as things that the masses could use to momentarily forget about their monotonous existence. But as soon as he looked at the lipstick, he hesitated. The case was red and shiny under the low light and had the kind of energy in it that made him feel curious. "Is this one special too?" he asked, half in jest, half in earnest, as he moved closer to the counter. Old Ma, the master of the shop, smirked at him. "The magic does not choose the person, dear, but the person rather the magic is chosen by the one who needs the magic. If you are to endure it, then it will happen to you." Ethan laughed. Yet there was only one thing on his mind that was bothering him all the while. The skepticism had been so ingrained in him, yet something about the lipstick seemed different. With a shrug, he bought it. It could not harm him anyhow. It was just a lipstick after all. Taking the lipstick back to his apartment, Ethan was standing in front of the bathroom mirror. He turned the cap around and showed a luxurious dark red color. As soon as his lips made contact with the tube, something that was never expected occurred. A sensation like electricity running through his body started on the surface of his skin. His heart pounded as his body temperature rises. The sensation became electric. The skin demanded, beckoning his core. He watched the changes happening to his face for what felt like the first time, and his once chiseled jawline started to soften. His sharp angles disappeared. His square jaw relaxed. His cheekbones were no longer chiseled. His hair was cut short, and now it gradually grew longer and longer, and his black curly hair fell on his shoulders. His wide shoulders became less wide, and his muscles on his arms became more delicate and graceful. His chest expanded, the muscles turning into gentle slopes, his hips narrowing to give the impression of an hourglass figure. Ethan opened his mouth in disbelief as he looked at his reflection in the mirror. The man who looked back at him was not a man at all, but a beautiful woman, a stranger. The change had been sudden, almost abrupt, which was hard to follow. His own voice when he spoke was different, more like he was a high-pitched woman. What? He choked on his words and his breathing became labored. His mind started to work overtime to try and figure out what was going on, but everything was just so overwhelming. He moved to the mirror and touched the skin of his face that was no longer rough. He almost did not know who the woman in front of him was, but she was incredibly beautiful in a way he had not known in his old life. He did not have time to think it over. When a knock was heard at the door, he was confused. He did not know whether to move or how to feel. He thought for a while and then quickly stood up to answer it, the sound of his heels tapping the floor. Beside the door, there was Old Ma with the same sly grin on her lips as before. "Welcome to your new life, my dear," she whispered. "The magic has chosen you. Embrace it." Ethan, now fully Jacqueline, just stood in the doorway. Her heart was beating so loud she could hardly hear herself. Was this really happening? Was she really a woman now? With Old Ma walking away down the hall, Jacqueline saw it fit to shut the door all the way. She swung back to the mirror, and her face looked at her in disbelief. She didn't know what to feel. There was panic, wonder, and something else that she could not put her finger on within her. But as she was standing there, feeling the softness of her new body, she started to feel something she never felt before. Calmness. Perhaps this change had been the exact thing that she had wanted all along. She had always thought that they did not belong because there was something wrong with her on the inside. Now, for the first time in her life, she felt complete. With her fingers, she combed through her newly grown long hair, and a small smile graced her lips as she knew this was who she was inside. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe.